SEC Network a couple nights ago showed you mic'd up giving some encouragement to some guys. How do you determine when during a game that guys might need that?
Yeah, I think that's just because you know your players, you've been around them. You know, we've been around them since August. You know the ups and downs. As I've told people, you know, especially in today's game, like you've really got to roll up your sleeves and get in there to know your players on a personal level. It's different for each player. You know, I think maybe as late as 5-7 years ago, you still kind of had this one-size-fits-all mentality as far as but now I think it's a little more individual.
Obviously, you want to be focused, but how much is playing loose and having fun a core identity for this team?
Yeah, I mean, it's our game. It takes. It's really hard to get 27 outs, and so you know, our game typically is not one-sided. There's always a chance for a team to get back into a game, or you may go down early or whatever. You know, a la like the Florida game. You know, we just finished. You got to understand, it's still hard for them to get us out, as it's hard for us to get them out. And teams who typically hit the panic button, it can spiral on them, and so we work a lot on that. So playing loose is big for us.
Last practice before tomorrow night's game, what's the focus over the next 30 or so hours?
Yeah, we're just going to come out. You know, it's still baseball, right? I mean, there's a few more of this. There's some cool banners hanging up now that say dirt, but we're really turf, but that's okay. Yeah, no. We're not going to make a bigger deal. I think when you add emotion to games, when you add a heightened awareness, players come in a little more tense, tend to panic a little more if things don't go their way immediately out of the chute. So our message has been real simple. We got another game right here at Foley Field. We know this field obviously extremely well. It's about staying focused and getting 27 outs and having more runs on the scoreboard at the end of the night than they do.
What's the biggest challenge of Long Island?
Yeah, I think they've got a really good offense. They steal a lot of bases. You know, our league is more power. You don't see a ton of guys. I mean, outside. I mean, there's obviously 2 or 3 teams without getting into that in our league. But you know, our league is designed around power. So you got home runs, you've got big velocity, all of those things. You don't see a ton of running like they do, or even for that matter, Boston College. So yeah, that'll be the difference that we've had to work on a little more than we normally work on stuff during the week once we got our draws. So yeah, they're really good offensively.
What suppose this team got to do to reach that next goal of getting out of regions?
Yeah, guys, we have to understand our approach. We know what success looks like for us. We can't let other people determine that. We can't let us get outside of that. Nobody's going to hit an 8-run homer if something happens. Nobody's going to hit, nobody's going to strike out the side with one pitch. So it's still playing it one pitch at a time, to use that old cliche. Understanding that, guys, man, it's as I've said, this whole time here, it's really hard, man. Our game can be really hard. Momentum swings happen, and it's the team that can stay even keeled and not get too emotional that typically comes out on top.
Do you go Joey tomorrow night, or what's kind of?
Yeah. Tomorrow, I'm only going to talk about tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to start Joey tomorrow, and Joey's going to come out and hopefully attack the strike zone, get us off to a good start, see what happens.
You talk about keeping things the same, keeping the team composed. In your experience, have you found that's like easier said than done when it comes to these tournament games, or once you get started, it's pretty easy for you?
Yeah, I think it depends on your team, right? Some teams it's really hard to do. This team's older, understands, likes to play the game. Obviously everybody's got their mantras of practice and with their team, and we enjoy. We try to make practice hard every day, in some form or fashion, and those guys really like that. And so, the more you do harder things, sometimes the easier the game comes. And I think that's what keeps this team there. But yes, this team it's been easier, but some teams is really hard.
What does that look like for you when you talk about making practice harder? What does that look like?
Oh gosh, we'd be here all day. I mean, it's different every day. I mean, we try to compete at something every day, and it's not the same thing, whether it be BP rounds, whether it be number of strikes, whether it be something, different, taking guys out of their comfort zone. Maybe a guy is constantly pitching. To use a pitcher, for example, maybe he's always 1-2 to the plate. Well, today I want him to be 1-0. And still throw strikes and still execute. That's a small thing. Sometimes it's mental stuff too, right? Understanding that every time you come into the box, you're gonna you know, guys are going to throw sliders to you or whatever, and it's like seeing that, and can you still, you know, if that's a hole in your swing, so can you still execute the plan?
Did you learn anything about
Got
your
time
team
for one more?
in the SEC tournament?
I'm sorry, what was
Did
that?
you learn anything about your team differently going into the tournament?
No, it's still the same. I mean, they like to play baseball, man. They love to practice. They love to come to the yard, and I think that's, you know, it's what you want as a coach. You want, and you know, you don't always get that. You can get some really talented players who, you know, enjoy the game. But I mean, like these guys don't want to leave the yard, and and that showed again last week in Hoover.
Wes, with
Thanks, Coach.
The sour power thing. Did you know about that before the year, that was a candy, and did you really need a crown to get
I
it?
really did. Guys, true story on that. I can tell you, I was right over there by those water coolers. They tossed me a sour. This one was actually the sour kid. I don't know, like the smaller one. It wasn't the long one. And I fired, and I immediately felt my tooth crack. And I just said, okay, I'm done with sour power. But yeah, I did know about that.